Hey everyone, Christopher Ruocchio here, author of the Sun Eater science fantasy series, an 8-year veteran of the publishing industry, back with a very special update for you all. Now, as many of you, and perhaps all of you know, my initial arrangement with Daw Books for the Empire of Silence Diamond Edition Kickstarter limited me to the sale of 500 copies of the Diamond Edition in question. Now, Steve and I have been working since we announced the project almost 2 weeks ago to obtain permission to have that run extended from 500 copies to 1,000 copies. I am happy to inform you that as of today, we have obtained that permission and will be extending our print run to a combined total of 1,000 copies, split between the lettered and numbered editions. So those of you who missed the initial launch will have a second chance. Now, for that second chance, join myself and Steve Diamond live here on the channel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, May 6th, when we will once again be live streaming as we extend the number of copies available through the Kickstarter. A link to that live stream will be posted on the channel here shortly after the premiere of this video, so do check right back to get a reminder for notifications. Once again, that stream will be at 2 p.m. Eastern Time this coming Saturday, May the 6th. The Kickstarter link is in the description. Now, due to the fact that updates to the Kickstarter can only be made one at a time, this update will roll out in 2 phases over the course of our live stream, with a potential variation we will talk about a little bit further in. Phase 1, to start with, we will be adding a second set of lettered copies, that's copies AA through ZZ, to the Kickstarter, bringing the total number of lettered copies up from 25 to 51 available copies. Those of you who know your ABCs will notice that this is 1 copy short. As I made reference to in our initial launch stream, we did set 1 copy aside for a particular individual who purchased one of everything, agreed to purchase one of everything in advance, not just for this first book, but for all 7 books, thus guaranteeing an additional piece of art in each of the Diamond Edition volumes of the Sun Eater series. This is a one-time exception. We will not be admitting any exceptions on this second round. Phase 2. Following the posting of these new lettered copies, Steve and I will be adding an additional 452 copies of the numbered edition to the Kickstarter, bringing the total up to 926 numbered copies of the book. Now, this does mean that Steve and I will be retaining 22 copies of the numbered edition for us to sell on a case-by-case basis. These copies will be going to people like my beta readers. At least they will have first shot at them. Any that are left over, Steve and I will sell at a later date. But we are keeping the small number back to make sure that individual people that we would like to have a shot at copies can have them. So that explains at least the number discrepancy here. I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that. But between these lettered and numbered copies, with the 500 that are already available, that will bring the total number of Diamond Edition copies up to 1,000. To go back over the math, that is 926 numbered copies, plus the 22 reserved numbered copies Steve and I are hanging on to, plus the 51 lettered copies available through the Kickstarter, plus that 1 reserved lettered copy. That is 1,000 copies. But I did mention that there is a potential variation that might be coming up. And that potential variation is this. If the release of that second run of lettered copies at the beginning of the live stream is met with another near instantaneous buyout, Steve and I will instead release a third set of lettered copies. That will be copies AAA through ZZZ for a total of 77 available lettered copies. Again, with that 1 set aside for the patron who has already paid. This will be as many lettered copies as Steve and I are willing to produce, period. We will only produce this third set in the case of another blitz on that second set. Should that occur, the total number of numbered copies will be reduced from 926 to 900 to stay within the 1,000 copy limit. In this instance, the math will be as follows: 900 numbered copies plus 22 reserved numbered copies, plus 77 lettered copies, plus the 1 reserved lettered copy that has already been set aside, for a total of 1,000 copies. So if we get that second alphabet's worth of lettered copies sold as quickly as we sold the first, we will make a third. And this will set the template for the series moving all the way through. So if you want to have a shot at more lettered editions, they need to go during the live stream like they did last time. Otherwise, we'll stick with 2 sets of lettered copies and everything else will be the numbered editions. So if you're thinking about that tray case, if you're thinking about the extra art, you want the black and gold version instead of the red and black version, do think about that in advance. The prices will not be changing. Nothing else about the Kickstarter will be changing. We're not going to add any more art sponsors. We're not going to add any more prepare to die slots or anything like that. It is just going to be extending the number of the books available. But before we close, I want to say a big thank you to the folks over at Daub Books for allowing this extension. The first phase of this Kickstarter was an overwhelming success, but one that left a lot of my readers out in the cold. The second wave may not be a perfect solution. It may not work for every one of you. We, of course, had over 1,300 people register for notifications in advance of launch, but 500 more copies means the Diamond Edition can reach more of you than ever before. But the greatest part of the thanks should go out to each and every one of you. The response to our initial launch was incredible. We fully funded in 2 minutes. We sold out in an hour. That is amazing. You all are amazing. And believe me when I say, for the 100th time, that I could not be more grateful, more overwhelmed by your enthusiasm and your love for the Sun Eaters series. Thank you all so much. Steve and I are hard at work on the book files as we speak, and both James and Taryn are working on the artwork because there will be more artwork coming, of course. Some of that will be posted in updates on the Kickstarter and in a couple other places, but some of it, of course, we will be holding back to surprise you all when the books get delivered to you near Christmas at the end of the year. So do stay tuned. And we will keep you posted on everything that is happening with the Empire of Silence Diamond Edition. We cannot wait to bring you the very best edition of Empire of Silence on the planet. So do set your reminders for 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, May the 6th. Once more, the link to that live stream will go up on the channel right after the premiere of this video, so do jump over there and click the bell for notifications. A link to that will be added in the description along with the Kickstarter link. But until next time, which will be on Saturday, stay well, everybody.